Yvonne Wolf, and today our special guests are Anne Fiegen and Marie Davidson. They are 2 of 10 contributing writers to Wednesdays with Winston. Welcome.
Welcome. Thank you.
Thank you.
Tell us about the authors. The authors are called the Grant Street Writers. And who are the Grant Street Writers?
There are 10 of us, and we come from a variety of backgrounds, 10 women. We got together originally in a class, memoir writing class, and it morphed into meeting once a week at my house, which is in Evanston, on Grant Street, so hence the name. And we meet on Wednesdays, so hence the name of the book.
Ah, yes. And these writers, you just met each other through this memoir writing group. Is this a Park Center type of class, or how did you learn about it?
The class was at New Trier Extension.
Okay.
And it's actually called Personal Essays, but I think it trended toward memoir. And all of us met in the class. We were there at different times, but overlapped. And as time went on, we realized that we could do this ourselves, that we learned enough, and it was very valuable. And we're grateful that we had that opportunity. And then we wound up at Anne's because she's a wonderful hostess. And she also has this great dog, Winston, and he's kind of our dog muse, and inspired the title.
Yes, I see. And that's why Wednesdays with Winston. Your class, so was a culminating exercise to produce an essay or produce a book?
Several essays, actually. It was we wrote a series of essays, each of us, and the book wasn't ever part of it.
Okay.
That morphed when we came onto our own and started meeting at my house. One of our members had the idea, why don't we just do a book?
Yeah.
So.
And how long does this incubating?
It's debatable, but what do you think?
Well, Anne was saying it depends on when you make the start date. When the idea was born, if we did that, it's more like 2 years.
Yeah, if you start at the very beginning.
Right, but when we get down to more of the basic steps in the process, it's closer to a year plus, I would say.
Well, that sounds like a reasonable rate from what I hear. And with
Probably.
10 writers,
Yes.
right?
Oh, yeah, that was the challenge.
So did you have an editor, or were you editing each other's work?
Part of it is a vetting process where we did edit each other's work, and we talked about it, but we didn't ever hire anyone to edit it for us. We felt we had done it pretty much.
And were you all in agreement that you should self-publish, or what made you decide?
Yes, it seemed very unlikely that a publisher would be thrilled by 10 women writing personal essays and poetry.
Right.
And so we had friends that we knew who had done this, and one of my friends actually came to the group to give us a little information, and he's done several, but he's one author, so that was easier than doing it with 10.
That's right, yeah.
Well, how would you say the experience of working together every Wednesday was like a little like an artist group? You get together and you explore ideas. Do you feel that?
Yes, I do, and it's ongoing. We didn't just form to publish the book. It's ongoing with just the writing experience. I think one of the most important things, as important as the book, were the friendships that were forged. And as only women can be friends, we are friends, and that's such a precious gift,
It is.
So on both levels, we have a product that we're proud of, and we have friends that we are close to.
Was this smooth sailing from the start? Let me just. Why don't you tell us what 10 women working together?
And I'll give to Marie.
Sometimes it was the choppy high seas, and I think that we learned a lot about working as a group, but it took a while to come to agreement about some of the details and how it would look and the cover, and there's a lot of details that go into producing a book. So it wasn't open warfare by any means, but it was
close.
Close. There was a lot of discussion, and for a while I was taking notes and putting out weekly minutes I kind of fell off that for a while. Back to it, and
Well, it's hard to
Yeah.
capture people all speaking at the same time.
that was our trademark. Was, as many women do, we were speaking over each other. You know, not because we were intentionally trying to be offensive, but because we just did it. And we have one member in our group who is Japanese by birth, and so English is her second language, so we give her a ton of credit for writing her essays as she does. And she actually got the most attention by being silent most of the time, and then when she would raise her hand, we'd all go, okay.
We have to be quiet now because she hasn't spoken
She
in
has
20
something to
minutes.
say. Yeah.
Yes.
And we sort of got better, I think.
But
Yeah.
it could be one of those things women are so good at multitasking. We can hear and speak at the same
We can,
time.
to the amazement of men mostly.
And go to Anne's kitchen and get a cup of coffee and do it on
talk to the dog. You know,
Yeah.
there are a number of things going on at the same time.
And we did some field trips.
We did.
Yes.
We did.
Field trips. Tell us where.
The last one was the American Writers Museum on Michigan Avenue, and that was, we went to a member's house and she had an amazing brunch, and then we walked in the freezing cold Michigan Avenue, and that was good. And where did we go for the comedian?
David Sedaris,
David-
but I don't remember where he was appearing, but we went to see David Sedaris.
Yes.
Most
I
of
think it was
us.
at the Athenaeum.
That's right.
Yeah.
You're right, yeah.
Oh, those sounds like very good.
Yeah, so you know,
field
there's
trips
the
for-
friend aspect.
Yes,
You know, I mean, the Writers Museum was kind of connected, but the Sedaris was just for
Well,
fun. and just,
I think many of us, admired David Sedaris'
Right.
humorous essays,
Right.
and so it was fun to see him in person.
Well, I think that any type of wordsmith experience is inspiration to all writers.
that's right,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
And then maybe a good mediator for any kind of discussion or conflict you may have in a group to just
right.
explore someone else who speak and write.
Who's done the same thing.
Well, I think that we got to know each other well enough to have real trust. And so I found the suggestions that were made in the group for my essays about how to make them better were really helpful. And, it's like the defensiveness drops away and you just really listen
Yeah.
to an essay that is in the book that I spent like years on, really. That near the end, one of our members suggested a slight change in the title, and I realized she's right. And, it wasn't like, I didn't have to be wedded to this title that had been in my head for like 10 years, that it could change.
Yeah, and when it's there for 10 years, you're not likely to change it yourself.
But it's all about trust.
Yeah.
And,
Yes,
and
I
people
see.
really paying attention.
And the group is, the diversity of the careers of the group also, we have two, Marie being one of them, two psychotherapists, sort of.
Psychotherapist.
We have an artist and we have people who were in
the corporate
world.
Yes.
And
Oh, we have a professional musician.
Yes.
Yes.
The-
Oh
the-
my,
yeah.
those
the
are very
Japanese
Pianist.
lady is a professional
Very,
pianist,
yeah.
and her husband is a
Right.
cellist. So we kind of combine it all as far as backgrounds are concerned and ages.
And mothers and
Mothers and grandmothers,
grandmothers
and
or
the two youngest
single.
ones in the group could be the children of the rest of us. You know,
That-
in
okay,
many
so that's
cases.
a
So
big
there's a little
difference. Yeah.
diversity there too.
So
which
we
makes
range
it good.
from early 50s to early 80s
wow.
in the group.
Yeah. And it's just a blend, it just
Yeah.
all
It's-
comes together.
It's a nice age to reflect.
Correct, because you've got
Right.
something to look
Yeah,
back. I love
right.
the rock stars who are writing their memoirs at age 21. You just,
Well, well,
I learned to walk, and I use a spoon. and-
That's volume 1. Yeah, it's going to be a series.
That's right, yeah. Many volumes.
I hear somewhere once that they say a woman's life is full of adjustments. With every major event, they need to adjust their expectations and their plans.
Yeah.
Very true.
It is very true. So the book is divided up into several parts. We had this was another like roadblock to look at all the essays. We had each chosen what we thought was our best work, and we're offering that. And then
Yes.
there was a few weeks where we actually had like a whiteboard, and it was
Very,
like
yes,
where with the we had
Good
you know,
tools.
Right. So we had a section called remembering or childhood, remembering, painfully funny,
Yes.
speaking out, and what was the last one?
I can't remember.
Yes, more about, like kind of closure, sort of ending things.
Right.
I like that perspective on painfully funny, because don't you have you heard of these commentary about there's so few female comedians because maybe there's some special way that women are funny that that's hard to discover.
Right.
Right.
And I think in a lot of cases the men don't find what we find funny particularly funny because it's about them so often. So it's hard for them to accept. In some cases, hard for them to accept. You know,
To laugh together.
that's right.
You mentioned when we were talking about this feeling of that at some point you wanted to videotape.
Oh yeah, our meetings.
Yes, your readings.
Right.
Oh, yeah, and now and the online presence, right?
Yeah.
Would you? Yeah, it was.
So
It would have been a good idea.
It
maybe.
would have. But we didn't capture that, in visual form. But I think we have enough. It's primarily I have it because I took the notes, and it would require some work and a little digging. But we might be able to put together a humorous but helpful, like how to, like the
How we did and
like
how to. Yeah, they might be two different things.
the close to idiot's guide to how to self-publish a book when you're in a group.
Right. Because it was like a synthesis. Those meetings are like a synthesis of 10 women. It was. Sometimes I would just sit back and say, "This is so typically female right now. We're being such women right now, and the stereotype even, and then the good stuff too, the supportive kinds of things, the sharing kinds of things, that kind of closeness that women can make with their friends."
And we did talk about that. Someone was having worries about a child, or someone was, worried they had a negative or a positive test when they went to the doctor, and what did that mean?
Yes.
So we got to be, open enough to share those things with each other. So it was also kind of a support group.
That's right.
A little
And with
bit.
two therapists there, we could almost. It was almost therapy.
We never treated anybody.
Well, you never acknowledged treating anybody, but I think there were times when your skills came into the foreground. Certainly.
Perhaps. Yeah, we all had different
Perhaps.
skills. And we were lucky to have a couple of people in the group who had some technical skills. That
How
meant,
does that come in?
well, when you're negotiating how to get it published through Amazon, or it was KDP, Kindle Direct Publishing, there's a whole lot of steps, and you have to know something about the technical part. We did have a
You mean lay out the pages, or what do you mean?
no, that she attempted to do that and almost went mad in the process. Remember that?
That was not it.
She didn't have the right program, and that's when we went to a professional designer that she found, our member, who was saying, "I can't do it, but I found this person," and she was wonderful. So she did the innards of the book.
A graphic artist, or is that
I
actually?
guess so. I mean,
Actually,
yeah,
she had a lot of skills that crossed the lines.
did. We already had the cover.
Yes. How did you come up with a cover?
This cover. This is a picture of some of us sitting on Anne's sofa with Winston down here, little guy.
Is he a border
He's
collie?
slightly bigger here. No,
He's a combination. He's Lhasa Apsos and perhaps a poodle. He's a shelter dog, so I don't know exactly what he is. But
he's pretty small.
He's very interesting look. Cute. He's cute, but he's also interesting mix.
One of our members just snapped a picture of this on her phone, and then we all agreed
That's it.
that's it.
That's it.
So it was a matter of figuring out what else, how to arrange the cover.
So Winston had a very crucial role.
A key role.
Yes.
Yes, a very
Yeah.
key role.
We like to think he even sort of knows.
Maybe he is a
Well, he feels very important.
they
That's
call
obvious.
the
Well, he-
companion.
He gets a lot of attention on Wednesdays
Yeah.
when we're there.
He does, and I mean the rest of the week as well, but Wednesdays in particular because he can go from person to person. It's not just I'm not the only one in the house. So.
Right, the social animal that
Yeah,
are.
yeah.
I was, and let's see, in the cover design, when did you start to? Do you had a cover first, or
We
towards the end?
Yeah, I think we did, sort of near the beginning.
It was close to the beginning, yeah.
Yeah, we had the picture. And my daughter, who, because she's just the age she is, can do stuff. And she's a photographer, not a professional. So she did like this is a possibility, what it could look like with the title. So that was the prototype. And then our designer helped us make it better.
Essentially, there was no plan, which for the details, which is
we had to agree on the way the font.
Oh, can you imagine now?
Yes.
10 women talking about
would
design.
it be glossy or matte?
Yes.
These are design issues that women tend to get into.
And
we
I
did.
think it turned out a very good choice, Matt.
We're happy.
Yeah, we're very happy
very
with the way it
happy
looks.
with it.
Very happy.
We also have some illustrations and photographs.
That's right.
Yeah, one of our members is an artist, so she did some line drawings, and we have some photographs that either our members took or we found that were in the public domain, I hope. And
that might be a detail.
So we do have some of those in here. And we learned a lot. If we ever do this again,
Yes,
Perish the thought.
Yes, are there thoughts about?
I think there might be in the future, but right
Yeah.
now it's like giving birth. You can't even think about it for a while. And
we're in
then
recovery.
we're in
We're
the
planning a
recovery mode.
launch party. Now that's what we're doing.
That's a great idea.
To avoid writing.
Yes, let's talk about that. How are you planning out the marketing of it? Do you
Well,
have
that's
a
the
online
next step,
presence?
actually. But we've done a few things. We're having a launch party. We have a website.
You do?
So
Okay.
it will be on our website, and we're looking to perhaps publish in online publications that have sections for ads for people who have
Wish to
written
contribute,
things and
yeah.
want to
Yes.
get them publicized. So
We've talked about
that's as
having a
far as we've
blog,
gone. Yeah,
where
a
we
blog.
can post essays, and we can direct people from Facebook to the blog and back and forth.
And maybe do some readings, some readings at
different
Libraries,
places,
different venues where people
bookstores,
can
or
come and buy it. So
Max and Benny's.
it's
In Evanston or where would
Probably
you
in
like
the,
to?
around,
yeah.
just around the North
Because
Shore
we actually
primarily,
come
yeah.
from one of us is from Chicago, and the rest of us are scattered around in the North Shore.
Yeah.
And your Glenview connection?
Well, there's two of us actually who live in Glenview, and
Both therapists, as a matter
the
of
two therapists. Yeah, and so, as you may remember, I'm a big fan of living in Glenview, and I love the library in particular. And the medical practice I work for just moved into a brand new building in the Glen, which is like state of the art.
Wonderful.
And so now we're closer to all the good stuff, Costco, Target, restaurants.
And
And
these, yeah.
yeah.
And this is a good way to market a book on your website. What kind of events are you planning? Because you have different schedules, or are you continuing your Wednesdays to discuss these?
We're going to
plans?
continue Wednesdays, so
Yeah.
eventually that will become a
Right.
topic of discussion.
Yeah, and
Exactly how we're going to
we
do it.
we talk a lot about how to really get back to writing, which was why the group started in the first place. And producing the book was a huge diversion, and we really did need to spend a lot of time talking about it. And now there's the launch party. But
Yeah.
Anne has come up with a solution. She's divided us up into committees, and it's going
Divide
to be
and
smooth.
conquer. Yeah, right.
But we've talked about structure. Do we want to invite a teacher in, for example, to help us, continue to grow, and make it more structured so that people agree that they will read something on a particular week. And sometimes we bring in essays of other authors and discuss them, sort of inspiration. And what else do we do?
The possibilities are limitless.
Yeah.
Once you start,
Yes.
you can go as broadly or as specifically as you want to.
So you have a website separate from the Facebook?
No,
Or
No, it's on
Not-
Facebook. We have
we
on
have a
Facebook.
Facebook page, but that's the plan, is to have
a blog.
either probably a blog. Yeah, I don't know about a website.
Take turns writing the blog.
Our
maybe?
two younger members, who are the tech experts, are guiding us. Like we're letting them. It's like I don't want to.
You can have the floor, the two of you, because we don't know anything about it.
Yeah, and
But
yeah,
that's
they
a new
do.
area for marketing books, isn't
Yes,
it? A whole
yeah.
new
And,
area.
well, and the whole Eventually, we might
Social
even
media.
have this book online, available, for
You do
Kindles, and
have,
we haven't done that yet.
Well, you
but-
consider it, yes. How about audio version? Have you
Well,
considered
there's that too. See, what you just could go on and on, just focused on the book, and then
So
right now we're just kind of backing
our
off.
really,
the book.
our big dream.
Yes, tell us about your
Someone
big
wants to make a movie out of
Oh
it.
yes, right. And we would cast it. We'd be happy to fight about who's going to be in what role.
Right. I mean, one of us has connections in the world of Hollywood. We know. And we like to fantasize about that and joke around. So
Oh,
Yeah.
yes.
it's not going to
That would
happen.
be fun.
And we realize it's not going to happen.
But it's
just
fun. It's fun
yeah.
to think about it.
It's always good to dream.
Absolutely.
I mean, it starts with a dream.
It does. Everything starts.
You
with
never
it.
know what you end up with. It may not be exactly but a film like a blockbuster. But you.
Maybe a Netflix that nobody watches. Perhaps.
Well,
We'd settle for that.
your book is available on Amazon, and have you gotten reviews?
2. We have so far 2. It's only been out since the first of the year.
That's all right.
And they're very positive. And in general, we've given away a lot of copies to friends and family.
Yes.
And had very positive feedback from people who wouldn't necessarily give it just gratuitously,
Right.
So it's a lovely little book, and I think geared toward women, but certainly men can appreciate parts of it more than others.
Both of
but-
our reviewers are men.
Are men. That's
Yeah,
right.
very
That's
nice.
right.
Yeah.
Who-
And how does that feel as a group when you see reviews? Because
Oh, it feels
I-
great. Yeah.
So that's something new to the publishing world. Before, we would never hear back from a
Unless it
writer
got
or
into
hear
the New
back
York
from-
Times or
That's
something.
right. That's
Right,
all
then
it
let's
is to
do
hear
that.
the reviews,
Yeah.
and then they're professional reviewers. But
Yeah.
on Amazon, it's obviously just regular people who would be buying it anyway.
Yeah.
So
It's very personal. don't you
absolutely
think?
personal and directed.
And
So
do you plan to write back and write to your?
Oh, I think we've been able to do that.
Yeah,
Right, to respond.
responded and
say
said thank you
So
for the
glad you
reviews,
enjoyed
yeah.
it. And
Yeah.
I want another thing about the process that I think is interesting. Some of us have really written a lot of essays because we were in this class for a long time, and we would just keep renewing our, going back to the class, and we have the essays. So when it came down to selecting them, we each did select what we thought was our best work. But there was at least one member who really we had to remind her about some of these essays that we thought were great. And it was like, oh. And then she had to find them on her computer.
in some cases, we retyped them because she couldn't. We just had hard copies.
Yeah, we did.
So, but they were that
Wow.
good that we wanted them in.
Right. But, she just had a lot of distractions going on in her life. And so we, that way, we helped her select some of these.
And sometimes we are our worst critics, right? Our audience might tell
Yes.
us which
We-
ones
that's-
really.
That's
That's
right.
true.
That's right.
So
Or you have a
wonderful.
personal attachment to something because of the
Yeah,
experience,
right.
and it might not be really as good or valuable to the book as another piece you've written.
Yes, because the audience, what they receive, what they enjoy.
So
the
we
reader.
also use prompts as a way to get us going, and sometimes some of the best work comes out of nowhere, like out of left field with a prompt. We had one called Comfort Food, and we got some really interesting responses to that. We toyed around with the afterlife.
Oh yes, that's a big topic.
I had this idea for what would I pack in my backpack for the afterlife? No, that's just the idea. I haven't written it, but
Let's start
but
with an
you
idea.
just never know.
Yes.
And sometimes inspiration comes from the most unlikely place.
Certainly true, certainly true. So proofreading for a book is a lot of hard work that people generally don't understand. Can you tell us a little bit about the repetitive amount of fine combing you have to do for proofreading your book?
It was proofread so many times the words were almost worn off the pages. But we're pleased to say that so far any one of us or other people who have read it hasn't come up with even a misplaced comma. So all that effort and intense proofreading really paid off. I have a friend who I gave a copy of the book to, and he opened it in front of me, and he was reading silently the introduction, and he looked up and he said, "Anne, did you mean fiends or friends in this sentence?" And I thought, oh my God, we have fiends in the first page in the introduction. But it's the kind of horror that you approach the proofreading process with. everybody can miss something, and it can
But
be somewhat crucial.
It was a joke.
It was a joke. Yeah, definitely. Oh, he was joking. If it weren't, we would have had to burn 200 plus copies, or each one of us go through manually and cross out fiends and write friends above it, which would have detracted a bit
So
from
did
the
you all
value.
take a part of
Yes.
that?
Our
proofreading?
own, plus there were people
Read
who read the
someone
whole
else's?
thing over and
Yeah.
over, and then we had someone else do it. We had an outsider
You
read,
just can't
read it.
trust the computer, huh?
Well, sometimes it's too much. Sometimes you have, the autocorrect, and you end up with something.
wouldn't
you didn't
catch
intend
fiend.
No, it
That would be a
Fiend
word.
would have flown right through. Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, that was a lot of work.
And
but
tedious. There's
tedious.
nothing fun about the editing
No,
process.
no, but you just have to do it. It's,
we all
it's
had
not
we all
fun.
had this
Yeah.
pride thing
Yes.
going on. We wanted our work to be correct, and
That's right.
so that kept us going, even though it was tedious.
Yes.
And it's being as you're reading for proofreading, if you're a writer, you also are editing, and the challenge was not to suggest changes unless you felt they were
yes.
really crucial,
Yeah,
because the styles are all
Yeah,
different.
one of our
No,
members
yes,
wanted
yes.
to edit her, keep re-editing, and we said,
No,
no,
you have to stop.
This is
It's
it.
as good as it's going to be.
now it's
yeah.
proofreading.
And it's hard sometimes because you say your group are all good writers, and
Right.
people don't want to.
Well, they're your
Yeah,
babies, you
yes,
don't want to
see
make changes sometimes.
all the mistakes.
Yeah.
Well, wonderful. Does our Glenview local library have a copy of your book
No, no.
They're gonna get one very soon, I
Right,
would
we'll
say.
bring one there.
And there's a
We
special
have
shelf.
donated.
yet? Yes, there is a local author shelf at the
Okay.
Glenview Library, and that would be a great place for your book.
Be sure to bring one there.
Yeah.
Well, it's been a pleasure having you here,
Pleasure being here. Nice
Yes,
meeting
thank you so much.
and thank you for watching. Join us next time on Off the Shelf.